The next section is what we call a hot take. And it's 4 companies who are doing really cool stuff with AI in the longevity space as we speak. And the first one, Maya, is actually looking at one of these very, very data-intensive systems, trying to understand causality, like Lars was talking about, which is DNA. So welcome, Eren.
Thank you so much. And I also want to thank the last speaker because he gave a really, really warm introduction to what I'm going to talk about. But hi, everyone. My name is Eren, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Maya Genomics, where we conduct DNA screening on treatable DNA-associated diseases. So this is Jenny, a 22-year-old university grad student who is quite active as a person and loves living a lifestyle and healthy lifestyle, as many younger generation in her age are doing today. One day, out of the blue though, something unexpected happened. Her world tore apart when she realized that her father died of a sudden heart attack at only 50 years old, a risk that she and her family never saw coming. After this, she decided to go beyond the routine checkup and decided to do a DNA screening test. Her results were surprising and unexpected. She had something called familial hypercholesteremia, a condition that puts you at a much higher risk of a heart condition. And while it was a tough pill to swallow, this information was actually an opportunity to take action. By having this information, she was able to, together with her doctors, come up with specialized treatment plans, medication, follow-up, and lifestyle changes. So now with this information, she was empowered to take action. Now, this might seem as a one-off story, but it's certainly not. Today, over 1 billion people have or might develop a DNA-associated condition. And this is, of course, a huge burden for our society, costing several trillions in productivity losses, but most importantly, costing millions of individuals health and well-being. But early identification can save lives. Now, I'm going to show you a metaphor which I think a lot of you people will relate to. But before that, I want to ask how many people here has a car or a driving license? A show of hands. Almost everyone. If your car is broken and won't drive, would you spend time polishing the windows or fixing the doors? Of course, neither. You'd go straight for the engine, right? Some things simply have more impact than others. And this holds true in many areas of life, especially longevity. In hindsight, Jenny's father should have done a DNA screening test. But of course, that is easier said than done, as we did not know the significance of this just 5 to 10 years ago. Today's trends in longevity range from eating algae to some even suggesting that you should take ashwagandha, all the way to decoding your own DNA. But the key point here is that, just like the car, some of these habits have a much more and bigger impact than others, just as we saw with Jenny and her father. So now let's deep dive into some high-impact facts, such as genetic conditions as right ventricular cardiomyopathy type 5, familial hypercholesteremia, and breast cancer. The numbers are actually pretty scary. Familial hypercholesteremia affects 1 in 250 people. In Sweden, it is estimated to have about 33,000 people that have this disease, but only 2,000 have been diagnosed. That's just crazy. And unfortunately, the first symptoms of this disease might be a heart attack in your 40s. Did you know that breast cancer affects 1 in 8 women worldwide? Unfortunately, relying on standard screening protocols does not do you any good, as we might overlook people with inherited mutations for breast cancer. Then we have cardiomyopathy type 5. Here, 1 in 200 people have it, or 0.5% of the population. But as same with the first disease I mentioned, the first symptoms may very well be a heart attack as well. Now, I heard from the moderator that there are about 200, 250 people here. So according to the statistics, one of you will develop familial hypercholesterolemia, one of you will develop cardiomyopathy type 5, and one of you will develop inherited prostate cancer or breast cancer. Now, these are only 4 diseases that I mentioned out of potentially hundreds that are out there. So you can imagine how crazy the statistics might be. And now I'm going to talk about the last crazy statistic here. 96% of us in this room have a mutation which states which medication you should take, not take, or in which dose it should be taken. For example, a woman in the southern parts of Sweden was diagnosed with cancer. They successfully operated away her tumor, and she started her cell therapy. But it was believed to be the standard dose of the cell therapy. But according to her predispositions in her genes, it was too high, causing her death. Now, this shows in the Swedish healthcare budget, as 25% of the Swedish healthcare budget goes to side effects, or approximately 1.8 billion euros. Now, I'm not just here to scare you about the crazy statistics here, because I also have some good news. All of these mutations are treatable if identified early, but only if identified early. So the question is, why are we focusing on making sure that we hop on trendy diets or protein, which protein we should take and not take, when we haven't even focused on our biology? What does our predisposition tell us? We know about these risks, the doctors know about this risk, and thanks to advances in DNA sequencing, it's now affordable. So the question is really, why are we not doing this? Because healthcare is reactive. When you go to the hospital, they will ask you 2 questions. Do you have symptoms, and do you have a family history of a disease? If the answer is no, they won't screen you. But as we all know by now, symptoms might be the end for you. The reality is that the healthcare system isn't designed with us as individuals in mind. It tends to act after the problem has already appeared. Introducing Maya Proactive Healthcare Service. When you join Maya, we send you a home DNA collection kit. You take a simple sample and send it back to us. We sequence your entire DNA with the latest technology. Then we apply our own AI to analyze it and look for the mutations that could cause serious but treatable diseases. But we don't just give you a result and leave you from that. If we find something important, our team of doctors will reach out to you, talk you through the results, and even give you a doctor's referral to their primary healthcare specialist if it is needed. It's about making sure you get the right care before any problems develop. But how does our software actually work? Well, when we receive your entire DNA, it is compared to our reference genome to identify all the mutations. We then use algorithms to filter these mutations, looking at only treatable conditions based on our own panels and criteria created by our doctors. Our database will include thousands of genetic variants all over the world of inherited diseases. Connecting each mutation to scientific articles and asking our large language model to take out the relevant parts of the scientific articles for that specific disease, making our in-house doctors and the doctors at the primary healthcare much more effective when diagnosing. But who are we to do this? Of course, the most important thing in a startup is the team. I'm the CEO with a former healthcare startup. Joining me in the venture is Jonas, my chief science officer, who has a background in medical biotech, and Maria, our medical doctor and clinical geneticist, as well as Dan Elias Wilmer, our engineers with expertise in complex adaptive systems and machine learning. Together with our advisors, where we can find the former head developer of Karolinska DNA analysis software, all the way to medical regulation and clinical genetic experts, making our team the best one to solve preventative healthcare. With your help, we can change the future, because as all of you know, we have a treatable, because as all you know, today we're at the revolution of how we think about our health. We're stopping when problems are appearing. We're now shifting the focus to a proactive and personalized approach. And AI is a driving factor in this change, giving us the ability to understand individual differences that traditional healthcare often misses. But how do we do this together? Well, first of all, we make sure that we create a database for all the genetic variations by adding them bit by bit to our software. Today, we're working on screening 3 conditions, those 3 I mentioned. But we want to continuously add all treatable genetic conditions in the world. Then we accelerate towards pharmacogenomics, which is essentially side effects of medication, as well as carrier screening. Secondly, we're not just an AI or a DNA company. We're actually a data company. Because every time we analyze, we're able to collect thousands of data points, and when we start including other health data points, such as blood levels, we create the world's best data set for a more accurate view of your health. This in turn means that when we have your DNA, it tells us what predispositions you have. If your blood levels spike, it might not mean anything based on your DNA. But if my blood levels spike, it might mean maybe that I am developing cancer or a condition. So with this data set, we will be able to create deep learning models which can find these types of correlations. Of course, this is a research ongoing. But when you become a Maya member, you're not only helping yourself, and this is something I really want to emphasize, you're also helping healthcare and longevity become better. And lastly, there's also a new field called multiomics, where we combine more kinds of biological data, which is not possible today. But what we analyze here is your DNA and your protein and your metabolism, all at the same time. It's like putting together pieces of puzzles to get a complete picture of your health. With AI's help, we can use this data to work to get a complete picture of how our bodies are aging and come up with personalized ways to slow that process down. So what's next for MyGenomics? Well, we believe the future is in your healthcare, is in your hands. By combining DNA insights with other health data, we can help you make smarter, healthier decisions every day. And we want you to be a part of this future. So we're currently seeking alpha and beta members. So be sure to join our special waiting list just for this event. And we will bump you up to becoming a Maya founding member, starting out in December. We also have a special surprise for our founding members in December as well. So together, let's stop polishing your windows and let's start working on your engine instead. Thank you for listening.